Hi there and welcome. In today's video, I'll take you along on a little adventure through Legoland. But before we dive in, I want to answer a few questions I've received from you all. Let's get started. Se você não fala inglês, não esqueça de ativar a legenda em português.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Giselle. I'm originally from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and I've been living in Norway for 17 years. The reason why I speak English is because I use this channel to teach a bit of English whenever I can. But besides doing that, I also share some videos about my life in Norway, and I hope to inspire many with the way I live, my mindset. Today, what I'm gonna do is I will answer a few questions that I got on Instagram. If you guys don't follow me there, you're free to do so. This is my channel. I share a bit of my life on Instagram. I usually share some funny videos and things that I've experienced as a Brazilian living in Norway. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so if you like the contents. So what I'm gonna do right now is answer the first question that I got on Instagram, and the question was, what was it like transitioning from living in Rio de Janeiro to Norway, Oslo? Well, I have to say that in my case, my experience was quite positive, because even though it was a big change, I faced it as a positive experience. The first thing that I have to say that I've lived with my parents my whole life before I moved to Norway. I was in my mid-20s, so then I was ready to move away and live my own life. So that was quite positive. This is why everything was quite exciting instead of being scary for me. I took every experience as a positive experience. I didn't really see it as scary. I have to say that I went through many awkward situations because of the cultural shock, but in general, I took it very well. I didn't really face any problems regarding the weather. Coming from Rio, I have to say I was tired of being in a hot weather all the time. And it was actually a very exciting thing to experience 4 different seasons. So yeah, in a nutshell, my experience was surprisingly positive. And if you compare with other people that moved to a completely different country, like in my case, I came from a tropical country to a cold country, so it's not always easy, but I was lucky. And it was the best thing for me. I can say that based on what I experienced. It wasn't always a bed of roses, but looking back, I have to say that I was quite lucky. Well, number 2, what were the biggest challenges you faced when moving to Norway? I have to say it was the language, and it has always been. English was easy for me to learn because we can hear English whenever we want to. But Norwegian, the first time I heard it was when I moved here. So it was a different language, quite new. The sounds were completely different. To be used to those sounds took a while. And so that was the biggest challenge. But the reason why I say that Norwegian was the biggest challenge was basically because there are many different dialects in this country. Even though it's such a small country, there are so many different dialects that actually seem like a completely different language. So I have to say that this has always been a challenge for me. Until today, after 17 years, I can experience some, I can, depending on the person I talk to, if I'm not used to the dialect they speak, I can have a hard time understanding what they're saying. But this is completely normal, because I know that some Norwegians also face this kind of problem. And even though I say that it was the biggest challenge, I learned it very fast. After 4 months, I was done with the course, the Norwegian course. But then I entered the real life. After I was done with the course, everybody decided to talk to me in Norwegian. And then I didn't really feel confident to talk back, but I did it anyways. I felt a bit like, I felt ashamed, but at the same time, yeah, this process was really hard for me to process. But yeah, I'm thankful that I learned it very fast, but still, it wasn't an easy process. So yeah, language, definitely. Number 3, what is it like raising children in a country with such a different culture from Brazil? Well, for those of you who don't know, I have 2 kids. And this is a funny question because I've never really raised kids in Brazil. I was a kid myself in Brazil, so I know what it was like to grow up in Brazil. And the challenges that we had there was basically because I lived in a big city, and the crime rate is still quite high. So my parents, they never let me go out alone, and this is something very different here in Norway because they think that raising kids, they want the kids to be independent very fast. And I had overprotective parents. So for me, it's quite hard to let it go, to be a bit more Norwegian. So I guess this is the biggest challenge that I faced raising kids here in Norway, because I feel that most of the parents here don't really act the way I do. And even though I know that I don't have to do everything they do, but I know that the way they raise kids is actually very positive, and it turns out to be a great way to raise kids. And the kids usually turn out to be very independent early, and this is something I would like to do. I would like to be like that, but it's harder for me to let go. So I'm trying to find my balance. I've always tried to, but I cannot say that I managed. So my kids are quite like the father. My husband thinks totally different from me when it comes to raising kids, but mostly in this aspect of letting them do things themselves. And I have to say they inspire me, and I try to be more and more Norwegian, but I don't really manage to let go this side of me of being overprotective. So I find my ways to keep being protective, but without destroying my kids' self-esteem and independence. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure if you got what I meant. If you didn't, I can talk more about it later on. Do you visit Brazil often? How do you keep connected to your roots? I used to visit Brazil every single year, sometimes even twice a year. But after 10 years here in Norway, I decided not to do it every single year. So now it's been very rare because my father passed away, and my mom got a permanent visa to live here. When I became a mom, I decided to apply so that my mom could move and spend some time with my son. And it worked. She lived here for a while, and when she was moving back to Brazil, then COVID came. And because of that, since it was so there were so many deaths in Brazil, we decided not to. She decided to stay here for a while since it was easier to control, because it's a smaller country and the regions are not really known for being very close to each other. They really kept distance. So yeah, so this is what happens. I really don't visit Brazil very often, but I keep my roots alive. I have to say that after having kids, I try to be more and more in contact with my roots by speaking Portuguese to them, by showing them Brazilian, the diversity that it is when it comes to music from Brazil. So they have access to Brazilian music, food, the way I talk, my personality. I try to keep all of this alive, even though I've been living here for so long. And the fact that I had kids made me be more and more Brazilian, because I'm the only Brazil that they get. You know, they haven't really lived in Brazil. We had the chance to be there for 3 months, twice, and that was the experience they got, and it wasn't enough. I wish I could live there for a while, but we have no plans. What Norwegian customs have your children adopted? Well, this is a difficult one, because I think they are definitely not Brazilians at all. They're very Norwegian. The way they socially speak. What is it like to be Norwegian anyways? Well, I can say that Norwegians are more reserved. Brazilians are more open. I didn't really make a Brazilian child. Both of them are, one of them is not really introverted, but he is not very extroverted either. But he's quite social, but not in the Brazilian way, because when I go to Brazil and I see how mostly, I know that every kid is different, but it's more common to find a child in Brazil that talks to everyone and comes to you and offers you snacks that they're eating. This kind of thing is quite common in Brazil. It's not so common here. So yeah, I don't think my kids are quite reserved. And when I'm very much Brazilian, like the other day, I just shouted at them, "Can you come in?" And one of them, he said to me, "Mom, please stop screaming, because the neighbors can't hear you." I was like, what is happening? So, you know, they're Norwegians. I don't know if the only way I can make them more Brazilian is by living there a while, but still, I'm not sure if this will change.
We're interrupting the program to bring you scenes from our trip to LEGOLAND Billund. But now the audio is in Portuguese. Turn on English subtitles and enjoy!
Olha o hotel onde a gente tá, é ali, ó. Você vai querer dirigir ali, Oscar? Vai querer ir? Eu acho que não pode. Aqui embaixo. Vai. De ouro, de prata, inxalá. Olha lá, vou pegar tudo. Você viu? Você viu o tubarão?
Agora estamos aqui na parte do Atlantis, nessa área aqui onde estamos, né, no aquário. Coisa mais linda. adoro o aquário, me sinto assim pertencente ao mundo aquático até eu ir pro mar e mergulhar. Eu percebo que não é a minha praia. Muito lindo isso aqui, gente. Agora estamos aqui no restaurante de família, né? É all inclusive. Então você pega quanta comida quiser. O preço realmente é salgado, mas inclui tudo, né? Quantas vezes quiser, sorvete, bebida. Então, né, vale a pena. E as crianças estão gostando. As comidas, assim, são para as crianças que são difíceis de comer. Inclusive, tem até batata frita no formato de Lego. Deixa eu mostrar pra vocês.
Tá rápido, né? Outra vez não era rápido. Outra vez não era rápido assim, não. Olha a zebra! Olha lá, vai tirar foto nossa. Verdade.
Vamos agora fazer esse passeio de trem aqui, gostoso, né? Hein? Estão todos acordados aí? Aqui ao lado estamos na África, né? Aqui já é outro lugar, não sei onde. Olha, estamos aqui na parte do Moving World de novo. Meu amigo aqui, meu querido, está amando o show. Everything is awesome. É de quem? Quem canta isso? É do Lego, né?
Sim.
É a banda do Lego.
É do Lego.
Muito legal a atmosfera aqui dessa parte, viu? Eu gostei muito. Mas o que eu achei engraçadíssimo essa atração aqui, essa atração muito engraçada, porque tem gente que roda demais e eu fico rindo, porque eu não vou num negócio desse, é muito... Se me pagasse até que eu iria, viu? Mas eu iria me passar mal, provavelmente. Estamos aí no segundo dia desse passeio gostoso, eu já tô começando a me lamentar, ficar triste, porque 2 dias eu achei que seriam o suficiente, mas eu tô sentindo que 2 dias não foi o suficiente pra mim, não. Eu levaria 3. Tem gente que faz tudo em um dia, né? Que o parque não é tão enorme assim, é grande, mas não tão impossível de se fazer em um dia só. Depende do tempo que a pessoa leva, né? Mas já tô com saudade. Olha, o negócio é tão mágico que tem até... Olha, o que tá acontecendo aí? Tem até bolinha de sabão voando pelo... Peraí. Olha que lindo, difícil de se ouvir, de entender, gente. Agora nós vamos nos preparar porque os meus filhos vão tirar a carteira de... a direção, né? De direção. Vamos ver, faz parte de uma atração, né? Mas essa é paga. E aí eles recebem a carteira, né? E o que mais? Uma carteira e uma coisa assim, vem até com a foto, com a idade, com tudo.
na loja enorme do Lego, e tivemos que comprar um Lego porque aqui os Legos são exclusivos, né? Não tem lugar nenhum. Então a gente acabou rendendo aí, se rendendo, se prendendo, mas soltamos, né?
Nosso quarto de hotel. Eu tentei alugar um quarto, né, que fosse mais para meninos, mas era o único que a gente tinha. Então ficou aqui o Lego Friends. Mas eu não tô aqui também reclamando, porque eu achei a coisa mais fofa, né? Olha os detalhes do quarto. Esse quadro aqui, um Gubble Bubble. I love, o que é esse RL? Eu sei lá o que é esse HLC, né? Tipo, todo muito meigo. E no meio ali, o quadro que enfeita o meio do quarto é feito de Lego, né? Ali temos ali as anotações, a parede toda aqui, como você pode ver, olha, a beliche, né? Tem uma beliche, tem um quadro inspirado no Lego Friends. Ali estão assistindo televisão, comercial de Lego. Lego é assim a todo momento, 100%. E eles ganharam presentes. Eles ganharam um presente aqui, né? Veio esse panfleto aqui com a informação do parque. E é isso. O quarto inteiro é total, é Lego 100%, gente. Até o banheiro tem alguns detalhes aqui de Lego, olha. Temos aqui uma escova, eu esqueci a minha. Vou usar essa aqui de cima, tá vendo? Temos ali uma estrela, né? Uma estrela logo ali. E é isso, é um quarto de hotel como qualquer outro, só que com detalhes aí de Lego. Quem gosta de Lego, esse aqui é o paraíso. Só tenho pra dizer, só tenho isso a dizer, né? Muito gostoso mesmo e muito criativo, né?
If you want to see more from our trip to Billund and the capital of Denmark, drop a comment below. There's so much more to come. The next chapter of our Nordic-Brazilian family's journey is just getting started. Thank you for watching. Bye!